when we were in ceremony, I remember the maestra was singing these icaros, and I could feel my body, like it was like she had this this hold over my body, and I could feel myself like moving as she was singing, but it was like she was moving me, and I had this like real sick feeling in my stomach that just wasn't moving. And when she started singing, it's like it started moving, and then I purged, and I was just like,
wow,
she made that happen. Like, that was crazy. So yeah, it's so powerful. And obviously you're not going to have that same experience if you are, you know, not in that setting with really experienced healers that can really hold that space. So I know a lot of people listening to this podcast have never done plant medicine, and they're really intrigued by it, because let's be honest, it's like the first time you hear about it, it's like, what? That is wild. Like, you can take this plant brew from the Amazon and the spirits of the plants, like, what even? And then that heals generational trauma. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, this is so crazy. And I know that for a lot of people that haven't had their first experience, there's a lot of fear around, like, what happens if I lose control? I'm afraid to completely let go. You know, if there are people that are listening that have these kind of fears, but they are really intrigued, and maybe they've got something that they want to heal, a pattern, an addiction, maybe they just want to improve their lives, and they're really intrigued by the world of plant medicine. Do you have like advice for people that are thinking about coming for the first time out to somewhere like Soltara to have their first experience?
Yeah, so I can take that one. It's just want to also first really normalize that fear, because that is something that, you know, it's almost surprising when people don't have a little bit of trepidation, you know, kind of stepping into the void in a sense. And, you know, it's such a personal and unique journey for everyone. And really what I've found that it comes down to, in helping guests and people who are interested in working with the medicine to really be able to get the most out of this experience, is having this foundation of trust so that they are able to surrender to the process, because it is a process, and there is a sense of interacting with something intelligent, and that's why they call it, you know, a teacher plant, and to really be able to trust that this medicine has your best interest in mind, that the ultimate goal of this whole thing is healing. And, you know, that can help people to, for example, face or navigate extremely challenging ceremonies, or, you know, experiences or feelings that might come up during those experiences, having that underlying sense of trust and surrender. But how do you get that, right? So, you know, kind of going back just a bit to the safety thing, you really want to know, first of all, who is going to be holding the space for you. So what type of healers are, you know, what is the tradition? What is the experience of the healers? Who are the healers? Who were their maestros? What is the lineage? How long have they been working with the medicine? How long have they been holding ceremonies for others? And similarly with the facilitators. So just for people who might not know, the way that we run ceremony and many centers run ceremonies is, you know, typically they'll have the healers who are essentially doing the energetic work. So they're the ones that are holding the space, serving the medicine, and really navigating the energy of the ceremony, the ceremonial container, whether through song or instruments or intention and smoke and things like that, all of their tools. And then the facilitators, at least at Soltara, are Westerners who have a lot of experience working with the medicine, studying within a tradition, and are also able to essentially help guests do the emotional processing outside of ceremony, but also during ceremony, help them with, you know, if someone is having a rough time or someone needs to go to the bathroom, or, you know, just kind of being there as a liaison between the healers and the guests. And so you also want to know about, you know, what is the experience of the facilitators, and, where have they studied? And you also want to know about the brew. So it's really important to know what's in the brew that you're taking. So typically, and at Soltara, we work with just the two main ingredients, which is ayahuasca vine and chacruna leaf. And they're brewed together into a tea, a very thick tea. And then, but other places, other traditions, other healers might add in different things like tobacco or, different medicinal plants. And so you just want to know, what is in the brew. And if it's something that's outside of the two main ingredients, why is it added in? Because that can also affect the experience. And sometimes certain plants you don't want to add into the brew unless you've personally studied that particular master plant separately from just kind of coming to this for the first time. And then another aspect of, if you're coming at this for the first time, you really want to know about the container itself. So, the environment that you'll be in, what is that like? What are the safety protocols? What are the accommodations? What is the physical space, and then what is the programming that is supportive around it. So one of the things that, we really felt after working in the Amazon jungle for some time was, we really wanted to expand the container of healing beyond the retreat experience. So, and it already is the case, right? It's just kind of framing people to see that it's not just the 1 week retreat with 4 ceremonies that is your healing, right? It's the preparation beforehand, the intention going in, the experience itself. What is the supportive programming around that? How is the center help to integrate and process what comes up so you can actually change your life back home, or make the lessons of the medicine come to life within you. And then the integration piece, which is something that we had felt was just a little bit lacking as sort of ayahuasca medicine was coming more into mainstream conversation. It was that was the first step. But now kind of looking ahead, it's well, actually beyond the medicine experience, this work is as important as what we do with it, right? And so, because otherwise it's just a peak experience. And so understanding what the place that you're going to has in place to support you once you go back home. So I think that's been a really key piece for us at Soltara, trying to bridge that gap between the experience and bringing it to life.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. You're so right. There's so much more to it than just the week. And actually, in my experience, what I found is a lot of the shifts and the breakthroughs and the healing that I've experienced from plant medicine has actually came after the ceremony. Once I've gotten home and come back into my normal life and realized, oh, I am different. I feel different. And it wasn't necessarily this come to Jesus moment in the ceremony. I might have had a ceremony where things were just fragmented and didn't really make much sense and I didn't really know. But then I got home and suddenly there was this, I don't know, something that used to trigger me doesn't trigger me anymore. Or I feel brighter, or I feel differently towards something that used to stress me out. And I really think it's so great that you've got those integration specialists. And I know that actually yesterday, Rick had a session with Soltara's integration specialist, and he had fantastic things to say. I think you include a free session, right, with a specialist once you get back. So yeah, he took his yesterday, and he thought it was fantastic.
The medicine really shows you the path, but it's up to you to walk the path. And that's really where integration comes in. Like you say that you feel different. Some things don't trigger you that might have triggered you before. And that's typical to feel different for some time after the retreat, after the experience. But if there's no action taken on that in terms of integration, if you don't actively try to catalyze that feeling, that those changes that you came to benefit from throughout the retreat, then that does, tend to dissipate over time in some cases, which is the reason you really, want to focus on integration and focus on taking the actions that you've been shown to take.